I know what you're thinking. Based, this isn't the episode 3 Ghost Game review. Yeah, I know it's not. You wanna know why?
Yes!
You wanna know the truth?
Yeah!
There was never an episode 3 of Digimon Ghost Game. It goes 1, 2, 4, 5. It's a whole conspiracy. It is a political election period in Japan and they have elected to not air episode 3. Crazy, I know. It's a conspiracy against the fans and we must rise up by tweeting memes about it. So alas, yes, episode 3 is not here this week, but what is a base Digimon video in its place.
British?
Okay, it's not a Gamon eating chocolate compilation, but it is some information on the villains of Digimon Ghost Game, which I don't think many people are clued in on just yet. But we're going to talk about both the facts and we're going to speculate based off of those facts. So everyone, I hope you enjoy this video. Now, I know many of you have probably seen the opening for Digimon Ghost Game, obviously you must have, but for those who are visually impaired, we're not ableist on this channel. It features many villains from previous continuities battling with the gang, and or scaring them or spooking them out. Now, if you know anything about Digimon OPs, is that they're massive spoilers for the rest of the series. So it's only right to think, well, it features the Gamon evolutions, the Angoramon evolution, the Jellymon evolution, so why would the villains not follow suit? And there are a lot of villains featured in this OP. Now this is a completely rational, normal way to think about the OPs, because they just are like that. But
Psych!
This might not be the case, and I'll tell you why. And it has been stated on Twitter by Mr. Kakudo, who is the director of Digimon Ghost Game, has stated that the silhouettes in the OP do not appear in the main story, they just chose the ones that people are most familiar with. So for those of you who didn't know, this is obviously groundbreaking information, because that definitely narrows down the villains we can actually expect from the OP versus the ones that were just shown for fan service and Easter eggs and fun. So that would include Digimon such as Piedmon, toobaseddigimon, Pumpkinmon, because the silhouettes specifically being black outline shapes and or shadows. So, if we're going to pick apart the semantics of what he states, does this mean that any Digimon in the OP which aren't silhouettes are featured in the main story? Or does he just mean that any villain that appears in the OP isn't necessarily going to appear in Digimon Ghost Game? So if we take this tweet very literally about the silhouettes, then it kind of means that it confirms any Digimon which isn't blacked out or a shadow will appear in Ghost Game. But then at the same time, we'd seen from previous VJump scans that Digimon such as Pumpkinmon, which is a silhouette on several occasions in the OP, is actually going to appear in Ghost Game confirmed. So isn't what he said contradicting the VJump magazine? And plus, he could just be saying this as a red herring to make us think that the villains in the OP aren't going to appear, but then they do to surprise us, despite the OP being a spoiler in a way. If this was the case and these villains actually do appear in a particular order, or a lot of them appear from the OP that are strictly from the OP, we're going to gather that he was lying sooner or later.
Liar!
Okay, well let's consider what we actually have in the OP. We've got several Dark Masters, toobaseddigimon, Piedmon. We've got Lucemon, which across different series and continuities has been used very differently. Lucemon Fall Down Mode, a very significant and serious villain, versus in Cross Wars, for example, where Lucemon wasn't so climactic and apocalyptic, so to speak. Some of the Dark Masters in Tri, for example, toobaseddigimon, just didn't really have the same significance as it did in 0-1. So even if these big name villains appear, it doesn't mean they're going to be this integral focal point of the Ghost Game plot. They could just be reinvented, much like Digimon Adventure 2020 did, a lot like what Cross Wars did to some of the older Digimon, like Lucemon. So for example, if Piedmon does appear, like in the OP, it's supposed to be a reference to Pennywise from It in the sewer. We can't really expect Piedmon to be any more than that, really. It's just going to be a mega level clown Digimon. It's not going to be the Dark Master from 0-1. It's just going to be a Piedmon. So even if these Digimon do appear, it doesn't exactly tell us anything about the plot. It could just be another Digimon of the week. Well, mystery of the week, should I say. And plus I think with a lot of these villains being shown in the OP as being mega level, if you reflect on episode 2 of Digimon Ghost Game where Betel Gamamon versus Mummymon, Gamamon evolved to Betel Gamamon, fought Mummymon and did no damage to Mummymon at all, and Mummymon was just one level above Betel Gamamon. And this is consistent, it makes sense. Perfect and Ultimate is a pretty big step up from Champion, but considering with some of these villains being mega, and as far as we know, none of the Digimon from Ghost Game, the three partners, Gamamon, Angoramon, Jellymon, they don't have Mega Evolutions. So unless they get Mega Evolutions or they find ways of overpowering their Perfect and Ultimate levels, I can't see them using too many Mega Digimon, because that's going to be an insanely steep hill for the heroes to climb. So depending on how very literally you want to take Mr. Kakudo's words, you can kind of derive for yourself which Digimon from the OP will appear in Ghost Game, but then if you're going to say that he's lying as a red herring to distract us from what might actually happen in Ghost Game, then anything could be possible. Again, if you take Digimon Adventure 2020 as an example, a lot of the villains in the OP for 2020 did appear, but they were very minute or not super significant villains to the story. So if you considered this for Digimon Ghost Game, I don't think even if we did know which of these villains in the OP will appear in the story, I don't think it really tells us anything significant. I mean, you would think so with Lucemon, they're just not used the same way all the time. I think this is the most accurate answer, is that they do this on purpose to get us talking about it, as we are right now, to pique our interest and to watch the show to see if such things were really true or not. But everyone bearing this in mind, what do you think is going to be in Digimon Ghost Game from this OP? Do you think all these Dark Masters will appear, and if so, how will they integrate Mega levels in the show, given that what we know so far is none of the partners actually have Mega levels? I don't really believe this, but it's not confirmed, so you just let me know in the comments. What do you think of Mr. Kakudo's words? How does that make you feel? What do you expect? Let's talk about it. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. More videos coming next week to fill that Ghost Game void until episode 3 actually airs next Sunday, but I hope this video would suffice for now. Of course, I really appreciate your time, but most importantly, take care.